Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 54 of Behind the Camera with Andy Games, the podcast where we shine a light on the storytellers, the creatives, and the voices behind the camera. This week, my guest is John Wandzilak. John is an author and artist, best known as the creator of Bolt Voltage, Out of Sync, an illustration-led storybook for all ages. We talk about the world he's built around his character Bolt, his outlooks on life and creativity, and of course, we share plenty of laughs along the way. It's a really fun and inspiring chat, and I am so excited for you guys to hear this one. If you'd like to support the show, head over to the About section where you'll find a link to my Linktree. This has everything from social media pages and merch to the website and much more. Like, share, follow, comment, or leave a rating. Every little bit goes a long way, and I truly appreciate it. Now, here's the interview. John, welcome to Behind the Camera with Andy Games. Absolute pleasure to have you on the show. How are we doing tonight?
Andy, thank you for having me. It's not bad. It's actually kind of a hot day over here on the east coast of the U.S. It's like 96 degrees
Oh,
outside, so I'm
wow.
actually happy to be inside right now, to be honest with you.
Love to hear that. Yeah, we're over here in Ireland or Northern Ireland, depending on your the persuasion. It is very muggy here. It's like very hot, but like was I hot? I don't think you would find it hot here, but it's also rainy and humid. It's not very nice. But
The humidity is what makes the heat the worst. You know, it doesn't
yeah,
have to be that hot. If there's enough humidity in the air, it could be cool and balmy, and you're still like, oh,
yeah, like and we're not used to we this has probably been like our hottest summer in a very in like recent memory, and oh man, it sucks. I just want to get back to hoodie weather at this point. Like,
I
honestly.
love hoodie weather. Hoodie weather's so great.
Oh, 100%. I think like a lot of people I spoke to, they say that fall or autumn is their favorite season. And I can imagine it's probably for that, man. 100%.
Yeah,
So, yes.
comfort clothes, comfort foods.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So, yeah, so your story, John, like especially leading into Bolt Voltage, your graphic novel, like it's I was reading up on it, and it's obviously one of a lot of inspiration, and obviously it started in COVID. So
Yes.
take us back to your story, just in terms of how you led to where you are today with Bolt Voltage.
So in the height of COVID, I was actually working for a retail conglomerate here in the U.S. called Wawa, and they were going through the throes of every other business during COVID, making policies. Unfortunately, every policy has an example, and I ended up being one of those examples. I
Mhm.
traveled out of state, and when I came home, I had to quarantine. That messed with the schedule, and they decided to make it a policy after my termination that that was a policy from now on. If you were going to travel out of state, you had to let them know with a certain amount of times notice. And since that wasn't in place, I took my leave from the company, and my wife lost her job during COVID working in the hospital.
Mhm.
She got COVID really bad, and she developed long COVID.
Uh,
So I became from a full time retail to being full time caregiver when she was getting back from her recovery, and now I'm back part time at work at a different company while I promote our art business that I started through COVID. Because during COVID, especially you were in Ireland, there's a lot more restrictions in the UK than there
yeah.
was here. Um, so we had a lot of lockdown here too. So I started doing a lot of things that a lot of the European followers I have were doing. They were showing their stuff online, showcasing and mailing. There's nothing wrong with having an online presence because you can have an online store and not have people in your 6 feet safe spot.
Yeah. Of course. And like it's quite an interesting thing. COVID being what it was a time of uncertainty for everybody. Nobody really knew what to do at the time. We all found ourselves with a lot of time in our hands, and it did get to the point for yourself that this is how you started up your art business, and then of course we've mentioned Bolt Voltage. In terms of art, then is that something that you have always done, or was this a byproduct of COVID?
So when I was working at Wawa, I had a side business painting wine glasses and beer mugs. That was it. I only wanted to paint on glass. I like my cushy little, niche thing. Um, but after COVID, I started really getting into doing canvases. My wife asked me to do bigger pieces, and the flatter plane was a lot easier to work with. So I kind of fall in love with that instead. But I've always been an artist. In high school, I doodled a lot. I really didn't like to pay attention in class. I was more of that. I was the ADHD creative. Like they would do notebook checks. They come around and they see what your notes look like, and it was like, oh, look at that. Susie has, awesome note taking here. Look at this. All these sections are outlined. John has, is that a stick figure climbing up the lines of the paper and sword fighting across the top of the border? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That reminds me of the Civil War. That was how I took my
Mm.
notes.
Yeah, I fully relate to that. Like whenever I was in school, I was exactly the same. I like for me, it was if I didn't resonate with the subject I was learning, or if I just it didn't mean anything to me, I was sitting at the back drawing. Like I was drawing stuff in on like my own books, on admittedly the school textbooks as well. Just wherever but I
Yes.
liked how you put it though, the ADHD creative. I like that. Like it's I think
We
it's
didn't know what it was then, but now we do.
mm-hmm.
So I recognize that's what it is. I know I have ADHD, and I'm definitely kind of some kind of creative. I come from some weird stuff, but like I was just that weird kid in school that was artistic,
Yeah.
and now it works.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, and obviously with what you've created, through the artistry. So then in terms of writing Bold Voltage, what was your inspiration in terms of writing this particular story, and especially with the concept of it being an illustration book as well?
So in COVID, we all learned about one thing in particular. It's called attachment, all right, or rather detachment being the issue. Me and my wife spent a lot of time together, and being separated, I had a lot of anxiety. So she's she said, "That's it. It's enough. I've had enough of you. You need to get into therapy. You need to learn how to deal with your stuff."
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I went to therapy. I fought her for years on it too. Bad, but she was right. And I went into therapy and I talked about my feelings and I worked through some things that I didn't realize were bothering me that much. And I wasn't sexually abused as a child, but my parents got divorced when I was a kid, and I didn't realize how much that fucked me up.
Yeah.
But there were some things I learned in therapy to work through, and and then I started realizing that shit that was bothering me builds up, and how to soothe. When I started like thinking about it, I would get stressed out and emotional, and then my therapist would give me different things to do. Getting into nature, um, you know, compressing an arm so you feel like a hug, hugging yourself, just stupid stuff like that resets your brain. And I started saying, well, what if I wrote a book that even a kid could relate to? Because I
Yeah.
hate reading. And I was like, okay, well, I made Bolt, the character, the robot, okay, as an art project one day by accident, screwing around. All my followers online loved him. So when I took that and said, I'll use that as my therapy, and I started telling the story through the robot, they really connected with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Bolt,
That's incredible. Like, and first of all, like, so you go into therapy and acknowledging everything like that, it's an incredible thing, and it takes a certain degree of strength, especially you say you fought your wife for years on it, and when you eventually do, it's you really learn so much about things that have happened in your past life that you're just kind of like, wow, I didn't realize I was still holding on to this, and I think with that sort of perspective it gives you, you can really sort of then hold on to what you actually enjoy, and you kind of feel the sort of passion out of these things, and like it's incredible the sort of how it can sort of guide our own individual journeys. And I think as well, with on the topic of mental health and as well as relatability with the character Bolt, it is such a hand in hand thing, because everybody in some degree has had mental health sort of issues or whatever it may be, and like to put it into something that can relate to kids, adults alike, I think that's just it's a very good market to go into, and it's a very good thing that you're doing, especially with the fact
I
that you
mean,
had the following originally, to be able to be like, what do you think of this guy's brilliant, and then develop on that.
I spent 5 years online trying to figure out a way to sell my art. Bolt Voltage was the one that just connected with it. Like I've had a lot of ones that were like base hits,
Mm-hmm.
But this was the first home run that everyone really connected with because it's not pushing an initiative. There's no hidden agenda in my book. I'm not. It is slightly about identity, but it's not an identity book. Um, it's a coloring book too. It's a black
Oh,
and white book that you can color in to make the pages tailored to your own mood. Both because I wanted it to be a coloring therapy book, and also because I have ADHD. I'm lazy, and I knew that coloring the book in meant another 6 months of work, and I wanted to get the book done. So so I took my flaw and I turned it into a superpower by giving
yeah.
my audience the chance to improve my work by adding their own colors. You might paint a green sky with pink trees, but your neighbor down the street might do a yellow sky with purple trees. And I'm going to do blue with orange leaves and red leaves because that's what I see on a regular basis. But and everyone has different ways. And then at the end of the book, there's a QR code that links it to Bolt's Dream Masters, so you can share your page with other readers and you guys can start having conversations about the art that you're creating with Bolt.
That is incredible. Like just being able to bring people together just with that. That
Yes.
I don't think I've ever heard that being done before. So absolutely incredible stuff. And what I like
It's
about
been done
that.
before,
Oh, how did it?
but
Yeah.
it was done a long time ago. All
Okay.
right. It was called Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It was about community.
Okay.
It was a
Yeah.
TV show. It was a TV show in the
Yeah.
US, but really, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, it really was about a neighborhood. It
Hmm.
taught you lessons. And I've been watching old episodes, crazy, but I grew up on that stuff. So
Yeah.
like it comes natural, and the stupid lessons that I'm teaching in the book that they're very low key lessons. You're just watching a robot go through his day, you get freaked out by stuff, but the low key lessons that are in there, they're rich, like the Mister Rogers lessons. This is why I
Oh.
looked at building community around the book thing because not a lot of people read anymore, and very very few parents I've found sit down and read to their kids anymore.
Yeah.
This is a
Oh.
book that this is a book that will question the kids are going to have questions, and they'll be able to go to mom and dad and say, what, why? And this is easy enough that a parent that has no clue what's going on say, oh, because of this. Because it's a friggin' robot. You're not explaining the behavior of a child. You're explaining, oh, the robot got freaked out by a butterfly. That's why he's doing that. It's weird, right?
Yeah, but
And it can
that's
start conversations at home.
yeah, of course, and that's like sort of it's it takes a sort of a level of genius to be able to sort of look at the current situation where, like you say, not many parents are reading to their kids anymore. Um, you know, everyone's got a screen in front of them these days. Like that is just the way it is. And even like storybooks now, they come in like digital form where you can like pop a like I don't really know how to describe them, but it's like similar to how like a sort of cassette tape would have worked. Similar sort of thing, but you can buy these different ones and it just reads a story out.
Yeah, it's interactive.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And as well with the fact it's a coloring book, they're becoming a lot more popular now with the sort of millennials and above because it's like a form of therapy. Like it is a form of cognitive behavioral therapy. It's relaxing, it's therapeutic, and like especially with the theme of your book, it can be anything that you absolutely want it to be, especially with what you want to color it in. It's what you see it, how you perceive it based on whether it just be a moment that flickers in your brain or even just a case of this is the mood I'm feeling. I feel like this looks like it needs to be purple or something like that. Like I think that's incredible.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty behind it because we all feel our emotions very differently. When I'm happy lately, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I've been struggling a
Mm,
little bit lately. Been a lot on my mind. So even in my happy, sometimes I find myself um coming to tears sometimes because it gets overwhelming. Even in you're like, wow, I'm so happy. I can't believe I'm actually having a good day right now. And just it kind of comes out.
yeah.
It's not a bad cry. They're cathartic. They're cathartic tears that has to come out. I call them an emotional purge, and luckily I'm smart enough that I get them done in private. Go on a walk with the dogs. The dogs get to see me do it, but no one else gets to see me do it. I'll talk about it though.
No, of course. I mean, it is something that's incredibly important to talk about because a lot of people go through life not feeling like they can talk about it. And it's sort of nice to, I think it's important to be in touch with how you're feeling and your emotions. And we'll just be mindful that, you know, you feel a certain way. and
I've
that everybody
got
does and just deal with it in their own way.
I've got two kids, so I've got an example to be. So when they see me talking about my stuff every once in a while, actually my YouTube channel, there are videos that I tell them, I'm like, good luck going through them when I die because I'm leaving messages for you guys on my YouTube channel. This way, my wisdom hits them when they need it.
Yeah, like, it's honestly like that's it's good because you know it's gonna it'll always be there. It's when especially whenever they need them as well. Like that's kind of like being able to just sort of obviously when in terms of therapy, people say write down your thoughts and feelings, and usually like one thing that I was always told was write everything down and then burn it, and then it's just gone, right? And then it's like you've got it off your chest and then it's just gone, which is it's an interesting theory, but I
It is.
think the difference in recording something on the screen versus writing it down is if you're recording it, you really feel the emotion and you're able to really see that there is what this person is going through. And like, I kind of think that is more important to really see it because whenever you're reading something, it's emotions down to interpretation, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely, because text can be perceived as angry or calm just based on a capitalization or punctuation in the
Oh,
wrong spot.
and it's like so easy to just overthink that as well. Like that's the sort of like oh my god, like that's the sort of age that we're in right now where you read a text and like what was texting like 20 years ago? When 20 years ago you sent like the average response was just K because like back then it cost money to send a text message, so you didn't want to use too many characters. Now it's just
Right.
everything's unlimited. If someone says Katie, it's like oh, have I annoyed you or what's going on here? Like, I think people get in their own
If
heads
they
about it. Like,
if they brought back the pay per character model, um, we would start having more efficient communications, I feel.
I know, I 100% agree. Like, it like, it was like trying to fit everything into a tweet sized message back in the day. Like, and there was something
Relationships
right
would
about it.
end though, because there would be fights. There would be fights over the text line. You talk too much, sweetheart. That's my wife talking to me, by the way, because I talk way too much.
Yeah, like I know exactly. I feel like I would be in the same boat. Like my wife is not a texter at all. Like she is to a degree, but it's if you send her a message, don't expect a response for 3 to 5 business days. And she'll not mind me saying that. She'll not mind me saying that. She'll in
See,
fact if
I
anything that was
talk
part
to
of her
my
charm.
phone,
Mm.
so a simple yes, no problem turns into a yeah, no problem. We can do that tomorrow. I'll definitely be by around 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, sometime around then, or maybe we do it next week, possibly. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
I
Yes, send that.
fully resonate with that. That's I don't know what it is. I kind of feel like when I'm sending a text, I kind of feel like I have to be as detailed as possible, even if it doesn't really matter, but it covers all bases of all possible questions. And it's just like, there we go. This is the start and end of a conversation right here. Try and trip me up now. I don't know what it is, man.
Challenge. Let's go. I'm on
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. Exactly. So obviously for the interest of those who are watching the podcast on Spotify, you'll see that behind John is a lot of his artworks. What can you tell us about, like, particularly the one with the pumpkin patch here in the stage? Well, talk to us about this one here.
So
What's going on?
this
There's a
is
lot going
actually
on.
This is a canvas I am rebooting currently. Every year, when I started off doing this, I started off online doing my art 5 years ago. Um, I just started doing a Nightmare Before Christmas canvas every
Oh,
single
very
year. My
nice.
followers started liking it. This is the one I started last year, never finished it. So for this year, I'm finishing it, and I've been kind of diving back into it. I call it the Rock Out Before Christmas. So it's
Hmm,
all the characters from Nightmare Before Christmas, but in a rock band theme.
love it.
So the pumpkin patch is actually all the crowd.
Oh
And
yes, I
you
see
got
now. Yes.
Jack on the mic, Sally, Lock, Shock, and Barrel, Oogie Boogie, the Wolfman. I just put the mayor up there, some ghosts. And then on top of the trellis, I have pumpkins with Christmas hats, just complete and total mayhem. Every once in a while, I like to do a piece that my wife calls "busy as hell." So this is my Times Square piece, if you will.
Yes, of course.
Uh, you know, whereas I have the bigger piece sitting behind me that I've been sitting on working on for almost a year now. I just put basic line work in and then start throwing some color out. My wife asked me to do some cabin paintings a while back. I kind of like doing the cabins, but now I've decided now that I'm working on book two for Bolt Voltage,
Mm.
um, this is actually going to turn into probably the cover of book
Yeah.
two
Oh, brilliant.
because all of my cabins are in weird places. Like I just I like my wife likes nature, but I like vibrant colors.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite ones is actually a cabin that's on an obliterated floating island in space.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um, and one of her favorites I did is a cabin that's almost in a valley of a waterfall, and there's a deer in the water in the background, very subtly. So I do a lot of weird landscapes, and I want to start bringing that into the story because I already have this art. All I have to do is add the robot. I could add the robot on a piece of paper and then digitally drop that onto the thing somewhere and have my next page. Because in Volt Voltage, the planet is retaking itself.
Yeah.
Humans have left, and the planet is starting to reclaim. And the whole theory behind nature just taking everything back. Like everyone's into robots right now. Everyone's into The Last of Us right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I- it's. I've been watching all that stuff and kind of like pulling ideas, picking. It's like picking a brain of someone who's not even here. It's great,
Yeah.
but it's a non-scary way of going through all of it.
Yeah, of course. And like you kind of see these things and it's so like to take inspiration from them like is like totally fine because you're looking at that as like a concept and you're just thinking, okay, I like this as a theme. Let's see what we can do with this, and especially if it relates to what you're looking to do anyway. So in terms of putting the story together for Bolt Voltage, with what you just said, like, is that like a sort of you do all the artwork and then you'll find sort of see where Bolt can go into this and fit into this and then kind of craft the story from there?
So with the book, all right, what I did was I literally like this was just a painting I did of Bolt, all right,
Mm.
and then it became the cover. But all of the pages inside, yeah, I drew the first 6 pages as like comic book cells,
Oh wow, okay,
black
brilliant.
and white art and whatnot. And then I started writing the story based on what I drew.
Yeah.
And then from there, that once those creative juices started going on the story, I developed a lot more pages of storyline, then took those stories and started developing different cells. And when it came down to trying to develop how the robot would feel emotions, I thought a lot about old school Star Trek, Mr. Spock.
Hmm.
How do you feel? So I started asking ChatGPT about feelings and how it felt about feelings. So I started talking to AI about the possibility of feeling emotions and getting that robot's perspective. So when I wrote and drew the stuff for Bolt, I wasn't drawing from a human perspective or an adult's perspective, because really, essentially, a robot learning emotions, you're talking about a child, a toddler
Hmm.
that's cognitive.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. He can walk just fine, but now he's got to figure out why, when something pings behind him, he jumps and doesn't understand why that freaks him out. So those are the things the book tackles. And you don't even know it tackles it. You just watch the robot figure it out. Then you're like, oh, well, he did that. You can go back and you actually see in the pictures what he did.
Yeah, of course. And like that's what I like about the sound of that because excuse me, anybody who is reading the book or anything or coloring in and everything, just sort of really observing what's going on, people are always going to relate to it in so many different ways. Like no matter what it might be, like they might have had a bit of an anxious day. They see a page where he's like freaked out by something, like, oh, I felt like that today. Like that's kind of, and it's there's definitely got to be like some kind of nice reassurance for the readers in the book.
learning to ground right there.
Yeah.
There's Bolt. This is the one where my friend called me. He goes, "Dude, did you really draw a robot hugging a tree?" I was like, "Yeah, I drew a
Yeah.
robot hugging a tree because it makes absolutely no sense, and it makes all the sense at the same time."
100%. Yeah. Like it can be exactly what the person wants it to be. And like for me personally, like when I seen that, I just think that looks safe. He looks safe
Yes.
from harm, and that's like, yeah, that's comforting if anything. Like, and for unfortunately for those who are listening to the podcast and not watching, you will be able to find John's book on his website and all other things
Yep.
as well. But definitely do check out the video for all of the visuals in this. There's a lot of vibrant colors, as John has said he likes, and definitely, definitely
You can
do.
actually learn a lot about Bolt's journey by going to my YouTube channel because there's a specific playlist that's called The Journey of Bolt Voltage, and it actually like it's all the videos of me creating all of the art
Brilliant.
set to different music.
I love that. I love that. So you said then as well you're working on the second book in your sort of
Yes, sir.
series. Is this just a sort of similar idea in terms of like the pictures come out and you're writing the story around that, or do you have like a sort of long term plan for what you want to do with Bolt?
So Bolt is going to become a series of books, and currently I have a 1.5 book that's in editing. Um, all of my Kickstarter backers, I had so many backers that bought a tier that secured them a personalized sketch of Bolt
Oh, amazing.
that I had AI write stories about all those. I gave them the picture and said, write a story about this. And I made a 1.5 book that I was going to release as a digital copy only. And it's going to be like, like a cheap $2 download.
Yeah.
But it's pictures and it's a cute little story. One was I might get some shit for this one, but the Minions, Bolt, one of my followers is into the Minions. So Bolt got visited by the Minions. And it was a little bit of a thing. Um, but I also have a bunch of Christmas pictures I did of Bolt last year
Yeah.
for a follower. So I have the works of a Christmas story working as well. But I do have a long-term plan of maybe doing a 8 to 10 series of Bolt Voltage. This book that I'm working on would be book two of that series. The first one covering identity, stress, and anxiety. This new one introducing a little more depth to the story.
Hmm.
Um, I've found that Bolt Voltage trends very strong in the neurodivergent community, so much so that actually one of my followers told me that their son, ND, autism, and he actually sleeps the book every night.
Oh,
His name is
wow.
Alec. Alec really connects with the story. He sees himself in it. So I've actually toyed with the idea of bringing that name into the book as another character,
Yeah.
just because she reached out to me and we actually did it was a it was a live online, um, where they were just kind of like, we were talking about the book and she came up to tell me the story as she left it as a review on Amazon. So you can
Yeah.
go to Amazon and read the story of Alec and Bolt Voltage in the Amazon reviews. Um, so since she shared it with the world, I thought maybe, throw that back there a little bit. And it's been tingling in the back of my brain,
Yeah.
his little buddy in the radio, rooting, because I don't want to give anything up about how the book ends, but I feel like introducing a new character is integral in rebooting for book two.
Yeah, of course. And especially if you're making a series of it. And that's such a lovely touch. Like, especially with what that means to this person. And I think to give back like that, it's just incredible. Like, I absolutely love that. That is, I mean, it kind of has a little bit of everything. It's like got such a nice sentimental touch. It adds story depth and a lot more relatability. And it sounds like it's got everything that you would want for your book, especially with the audience that it is catering to.
The creator who shared her story with about her son with me was gracious enough to also share the screen recording of her sharing that story live. So we have the emotional reactions of the
Yeah.
9 people on screen, myself included. I cried. Um, and but she let me share that across vast channels to promote the book, but also tell how the story really connects with people because that's the one thing people are looking for the most in the world. They pay for. I mean, really, if you think about it, people have subscriptions for a lot of things,
Hmm.
but human connection is the one thing people pay for the most, and I mean that in every sense of
Yeah.
human connection.
Yeah. I completely agree. Like it
And
is.
that's another thing that COVID cracked open. I won't say it broke; it cracked open.
No, I agree. I agree. There was something weird about that time where I I don't want to say I learned who my real friends were as such. It wasn't that deep, but it was more of who I was keeping closer by based on my actual connections and friendships with them.
I'm gonna put it in a term. All right,
Mhm.
COVID brought us back to MySpace.
Yes.
And literally, if you were in my top eight, you were allowed at my house. You know what I mean? Like that's it. If you were in my top eight, get the fuck out of here. You got
That's it.
COVID.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Oh my god. Like, I mean, this is a bit of a tangent off, but like, we're now in the time where people haven't heard of MySpace. Like, that's
We are.
oh my god. Like, and
No one knows who the fuck Tom is.
I know, like, he was everybody's friend, and I don't. And now, to be fair, we all did him dirty when you look at it in the exactly. There we go. Yeah,
We were like,
like,
hey, Tom, that's great, but Mark's app is cooler, so we're gonna go over there by.
oh yeah, like the natural progression of social media. I think 20 years, 20, 50, we'll say 20 years ago, was MySpace, Bebo, Facebook, and then Twitter and Instagram, and now TikTok, I suppose. But like, yeah, like the generation now, like I suppose
Short form changed the game.
it did. Oh, it
So
did, 100%.
so social media, yeah, social media kind of went the way of cinema. So like
Hmm.
MySpace, Facebook, those were like the blockbusters.
Yeah, yeah.
TikTok is the Netflix. It started off as a mail-in service, but now you can just stream it right to your fucking phone.
My God, that's some way of putting it. Like, I love that. I love that. Like, and so on the topic then of short form content with compared to like what you do. Obviously, it's two different things. You've got digital versus a physical book that you have in your hand and do and you color in yourself. Like, whenever you came to release that, did it ever cross your mind about the social media and digital impact, or were you just like, this is what I want to do, I'm gonna just fucking send it at this point?
So the funny thing is, I was doing social media for the last 5 years, trying to find a way to make myself popular, make myself sexy, make myself clickable.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that's making me the most clickable right now. So I wouldn't say that I, social media taught me how to do it,
Yeah.
not the other way around.
Mm.
I mean, it's definitely a learning curve. I made
Oh,
a lot of mistakes. I fell on my face more than I failed more than I triumphed. But when I triumph, I have one hell of a fucking end zone dance.
oh man, of course. And it is interesting, the social media aspect of things, and like, oh, by the sounds of it, like, you had your social media platform before you released your book. Like, do you feel
Yes,
like that was a massive help in terms of, this is what I'm doing, it's a physical product, but you had the backing of like your followers, your Kickstarters? It's like, this is what it is. Like, what do you think? Because you had people
100%.
had that trust in you at that point.
100%. I feel like the social platform definitely helped me because uh especially on Facebook, Meta, trying to promote something, a project you're working on, is rather difficult. In fact, um we met through Podmatch,
Yeah.
an app that connects podcasts and pod hosts, you know, but on Facebook we never would have connected.
No.
I met a lot of my European, Australian following on an app called Clapper. Clapper breaks all the rules that social media has in the sense that they don't censor and they also don't have filters where um, when you go on Facebook, it shows you people that are local to you. You
Yeah.
know, if you search a specific first name and last name, it will show you first name and last names that are within a 50-mile radius of your home location.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it won't show you people with the same name and that are different nationalities in other countries. Whereas on Clapper, it really does do that. I met a couple creators from Australia, a couple creators from the UK, and then suddenly now I have a very strong foothold in the UK, in Scotland, in a few in Ireland,
Hmm.
um, that I'm friends with and I speak to on a regular basis. And I've even met a couple in person because they came out to the US.
Right.
They did a big social meetup and we all went. So, I mean, I feel like social media was very integral to me launching the book because I already had people in those countries that were going to click my stuff.
Yeah.
And to have people in your town clicking on your stuff is great for Facebook. But when you have people in other countries clicking on your stuff because they know you from off of Facebook and they're going to your Facebook and clicking your stuff, I feel like that helped my reach go a little farther.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is quite interesting you bring up the point about Facebook and, people not connecting through Facebook anymore. And it makes me realize how things have changed massively because originally back in the day of Facebook, what was the goal? To have as many friends as you possibly could, right? And
Mm-hmm.
now it's like if somebody you don't know adds you on Facebook, you treat it the same way if you don't recognize the number calling you on your phone. You're like, who the fuck is this? Like, what am I? Why are you in my
All right,
space
who are
right
our
now?
mutuals? We have a
Yes.
mutual friend. All right, there's one mutual friend. Who is it? Is it somebody stupid? It's someone stupid. This is a spammer.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just like people are. I put it down to people being a bit more reserved now versus also probably a little bit more internet savvy than we probably were back in the day, and it's but like at the same time it like really does have the power to bring people together in terms of just common interests and just connections and friendships.
You know, I couldn't agree more because only 3 months ago I received a connection on Snapchat from someone I didn't know, and they asked me if I wanted to buy cocaine from them. Making connections.
Well, there's connections, and then there's that. Yeah, like
Like that's, social media has gone awry.
yeah, like it's one of those things where there's no balance in terms of how much good and evil it can do because as soon as you see like, and I guarantee this, if you're like scrolling through, anybody listening or watching, like if you're scrolling through your Instagram reels, scrolling through your TikToks, you will maybe see one of the greatest things you have ever seen ever, something that really speaks to you, whether it be, you know something that's a big hobby of yours or maybe a clip of this podcast, who knows, and it could really, really change your life. I guarantee you, the next thing that you see will also be the worst thing you've ever seen in your life.
Absolutely. 100%.
Because that is
Because
just
that's
how
how
the
social
internet
media
works.
works. Social
Exactly.
media, the internet does enough to bring you into the screen right here just to make you go, oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, it
Yeah.
is just I.
Oh,
But the thing is, as well, and I was actually chatting to somebody else about this recently, and there's like a phrase that's been coined, getting your dopamine hit for the day, and that's why like there's a lot of things on the internet that are so like feed into
high
that sort of
energy.
dopamine addiction. Yeah, high energy. You look at it and like,
Dude,
yeah, like,
Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is a freaking example of that.
mm,
I stopped dead in the scroll because I watched him drop a Ferrari into a pool full of Orbeez.
yeah.
Dopamine.
Oh yeah, like
Because I wanted to see what happened.
that's it. And you will still sit there for 10 or 15 minutes of build up before it actually happens, and you won't skip it because you do get drawn into it, and like he is an incredible creator, like
Yes.
in terms of what he does, and he seems very genuine and natural with what he does, and I like that. But he also,
He's got some balls on him.
100%, that, but there is also that kind of like ingenuity where he knows how to cater to every single person who not just watches him but could potentially watch him. And it's like
Yep.
the long form videos that he does is just storytelling. There's, because he does a lot of challenges with people a lot over like long periods of time, there is a lot of development in them, and it is quite enticing, and it's yeah, he's got it nailed down. Like he really has it nailed down.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely model some of my business behind some of the stupid stuff he does because really, it's 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 the people who take those risks in business that get
Mm-hmm.
the reward. It's not the you know you don't make money being safe.
100%.
You know,
100%.
me and my wife decided to promote the book. We spent the money. I got a table at Comic Con, not Comic Con, but Super Jersey Comic Expo.
Mm-hmm.
A really decent sized venue. And when it was slow, I grabbed a couple copies of my books and I walked over to the actors that were there to sign for money, and I handed my copies of my books to certain actors that were there that just to get my name in their head too,
Yeah.
because you never freaking know. I
No.
took that risk. Was it a $12 risk? Yes, but I also got to meet Stefan Kopacik. I got to meet Michael Jai White. Like have a 5 minute conversation with a star and didn't have to pay for it either.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm cheap.
But that's the thing. It works, and when you do something like that, that's like, I mean, it's still networking. Like, because
It
even
is.
in that moment in time, they knew who you are, and like, say 6 months, a year from now, whatever it may be, like your name comes up in a feed of theirs. They're like, oh my god, there's John from the expo. Like, what's that's incredible. Like, and it's like, and I do think this is a byproduct of COVID, where now that everything's more digital, but on such an elevated way, where like people will have more friends from across the world than they will from the same country as them or the same city, whatever it may be. I know I do at this point, like
My kids
100%.
are 19 and 23, and I have talked to my wife about renewing our passports and just going nomad for like a decade. I've met so many people in so many countries that if we had the capital,
Yeah.
I could literally travel the world for the next 10 years, stay in a different house or town. I don't stay in everybody's house. I wouldn't mind getting a camper and just try, like, okay,
Hmm.
get a camper in the UK, drive around. I'll stay in your friggin' driveway. Let me use your bathroom, okay? I don't want to use
Oh
my
yeah,
bathroom. Let me use your bathroom.
yeah.
But I would love to just travel the world because that's what we're supposed to do, I
I
think.
think
I
so.
don't think we're supposed to work for a fucking person all of our lives. I think that we're doing it all wrong. The gold standard, the whole the thing that drives the world is money. It shouldn't be that.
No.
It should be pushing our species forward,
Yeah.
which is why my book takes place in a world where humans have left the planet. There's no more humans. And the robot's teaching you to push yourself forward because we don't. We don't have a cure for cancer, dude. We have sex robots. We don't have a cure for cancer. Like we can scratch your itch, but we can't make you never itch again. Like what the fuck is that about? Really? Come on. We're doing all the wrong technologies, is all I'm saying.
I think that line right there, we have sex robots, but not a cure for cancer. That's an all timer right there. Like, holy shit, that is an all timer for me. That is gonna live rent free in my head for the next while, and I'm not mad about it at all. But I completely agree, like 100%. Like it's everything's so technology driven, but it's like where the sort of arts and humanities matter, of course, because they're good for the soul, they're good for mental health, but so is actual things for physical health, which can be like a horrible burden on people. Like it's yeah, the priorities kind of seem a little bit kind of askew at
Unpopular
times.
opinion, having an American diet, horrible for your health. And I know this from talking to my friends who live in the UK and we talk about foods. We used to have a game during COVID. We would go live, 9 people, 9 different countries, okay? Canada, UK, Sweden, Australia, friggin' New Zealand. Everyone go to your pantry, grab a random can. Everyone start reading shit off the back of the can. Everyone's done except for the guy from the US. He's still going because there's 55,000 ingredients in a can of baked beans.
Yeah, I've heard quite extensively that there's a lot that goes
It
into
is.
when people read the back of a
It's too
can of
much.
something. It's like the odd time I will as well, just because like you got to be curious. But I kind of look at it, so like for example, like I have a tin of Pepsi Max here, and could probably count about maybe 7 things on it or something like that. And it's like, I don't know what any of these words mean. I don't know what they do. I mean, is it safe? Probably. Is it? But yeah, I've
It's
heard that.
safe enough,
Yeah, it's safe enough. I mean, I've drank enough of them, and nothing inherently bad's happened yet. So I'm sure one more will be fine. Well, oh God, I mean, sure,
right?
one more will be fine. How many people have said that before? But
Exactly.
yeah, of course. There was one thing I wanted to bring up as well, John, and this is, of course, if you don't mind, but you having a car accident and then becoming blind in one eye.
Yes.
Um, so obviously now you being a visual artist, like, how did you sort of overcome all of this and then be able to sort of have your visual arts the way it is?
So the beautiful thing about painting is that when you make a mistake, you can just paint over that mistake when it dries.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons why I used acrylic and not oil because oil takes forever to dry. And again, I have ADHD and don't have time for that shit. But honestly, perspective is kind of a difficult thing for me. I love perspective in school. When we did art projects, the perspective stuff was always one of my favorite things. But I do have a hard time with depth perception now because I'm blind in this eye.
Yeah.
Most of them, 20/100 vision, and it's kind of like looking through a glass that you just drank milk out of.
Okay.
Like a
Yeah.
nice thick, heavy cream, swish it around in glass, and then try to read a book through that
Mm.
glass. That's what my left eye kind of looks like. Um, so I mean, I get kind of a third dimension, but not entirely. So every once in a while, I'm like that mirror on your car. Things are closer than they appear. I have accidentally high-fived my wife in the forehead a couple times when I was just trying to be a jackass, and then turned into being just an asshole. Um, so you know, not my greatest moment, but it's things that have happened. And yes, the car accident did affect me in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
For an artistic aspect, I do struggle sometimes, again, just with creation because I think the brush is a little closer to the canvas than it actually is, and then I poke it and I make a big smear. Now I let that dry, go back and fix it, da 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 da. Um, and I can do that. Not a lot of people
Yeah.
would do that, and they would stress out. I stopped freaking out about messing up because if you look at the classic artists before me, I mean, I'm talking about the famous ones, Jackson Pollock, Van Gogh, Da Vinci. Their stuff isn't peerless. Everyone renounces them to be fantastic artists, and they are. They are amazing. They set the groundwork for what I stand on. But if you look at the people who are doing photorealism now, I mean, Mona Lisa is cute,
Yeah.
but like, I mean, is it a classic? Absolutely, but it's cute by comparison to some of the things that people are creating now. So it's a big debate in the art world as to what genuine art really is, and I'm inspired by all of it.
Yeah.
I make stuff that looks like a very very intricate doodle.
But then, like, that's the thing, art is obviously so subjective, and I absolutely love your outlook on it because obviously, visual art, you need you need your eyes for that, right? But at the same time, like, if with what you said, like, if the sort of biggest problem you have with that is your depth perception and having to wait for something to dry, like, that honestly just kind of, I think that's testament to your character in terms of being an artist, where it's just like, I still have my other eye. I can still create things. I can still inspire others and do this with what I have. And I think that is an absolutely fantastic outlook to have on that.
So the tagline for the book, and actually one of the first lessons it teaches before you even open it, okay, it says bolt voltage out of sync because not all errors need fixing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful.
So that's the first thing it teaches. Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean that you're broken. You can still move on from that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you honestly have there are words to live by. Not everyone is perfect, but can still just do right by yourself, by others, and just be a good person. Like, it's this makes sound so
It's
simple,
not
but
hard. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard for some to be a good person, but it's not hard. You
yeah.
know, I mean, I know that people make it hard to be a good person sometimes. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, for
especially if you
sure.
work in retail.
Oh
But
man, been there.
it's not hard.
100%. John, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on Behind the Camera with Andy Games. Thank you so much for your time. Just before we wrap up, I would like to give you the floor. I would like if you could just let the viewers and listeners know where they can find you, where they can find your works, your YouTube, and your socials, etc., etc. So the floor is yours.
Guys, if you enjoyed the conversation me and Andy shared today and you want to learn more about me, Bolt, or any of my art, you can come on down to www.jdubsarts.com. That is the hub for all things Dubs. It's the Dubs hub, if you will. So come on down to the Dubs hub where you can check out anything like picking up a copy of Bolt Voltage out of sync in paperback or hard copy. You can also find my swanky little t-shirts, hoodies, socks. We have tumblers now, and there's a couple new things coming out for back to school, including a color your own adventure backpack. So you can check that out there or check me out at JDubs Arts on any social media channel. YouTube is where I tell all of my visual stories for Bolt and most of my art journey. If you want to learn a little more about me, there's a lot to learn there as well.
Absolutely. And I love that. And obviously, if you do visit the website, you can also get yourself one of these little mugs here. There we go.
I thought that was you.
Yes, that was me. I
So,
had to. I fucking love it, man.
side note, real quick before you end it, that right there, that is the original Bolt Voltage.
No
That's the
way.
first picture. Like that's the first image I made of him.
Amazing.
That's the first original I sold of him also. But that was his original concept picture.
I love that. Absolutely love that. It's nice to have a little piece of the original right there. Like that is fantastic. Once again, John, thank you so much for your time. Been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I can't wait to see what comes next, especially with the second installment of Bolt Voltage.
Thanks for having me on the show, and let me bring a little art to your heart.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, John. All the best. And there you have it. That brings us to the end of episode 54 of Behind the Camera with Andy Games. Massive, massive thanks to John Wandzilak for bringing his incredible story to the podcast, sharing his experiences, and as he rounded off the episode, bringing a little art to our hearts. Once again, if you'd like to support the podcast, my link tree in the About section has everything from socials, merch, website, all of the good stuff. A follow, rating, share, all goes a long way. Until next time, take care, stay creative, and I'll see you soon. But until then, peace.